This was my fourth year as Spencer Sterling's trophy girlfriend. He got bored and asked to break up. I planned to do my usual routine, cry, scream, threaten to end it all, just like countless times before. Perform deep devotion, satisfy his ego. But then floating text appeared in the air before my eyes. The comments, they said Spencer was serious this time. He had fallen for someone else. This was truly the last time we would meet. Instantly, I went silent. I shed a few silent tears. While using my pinky finger to hook the stack of cash on the floor, rolling it into my palm and tucking it deep into my sleeve. The male lead is for real this time. The supporting female still thinks he's flirting. Yeah, he just wants to dump her to chase our princess. She keeps clinging. It's just pathetic. I saw these floating comments 3 minutes ago, right when Spencer mentioned breaking up. Usually when Spencer threatened to break up, he was just throwing a tantrum, wanting to see me beg and say I couldn't live without him. I had just brewed up some tears, ready to wail when the text blocked the sound in my throat. I looked up. The man in front of me was as immaculate as ever. In a black dress shirt, cuffs folded perfectly. But the watch on his wrist wasn't the Patek Philippe I bought him for his birthday last year. It was a modest mid-range
brand.
A brand the old Spencer never would have touched. Comments continued. She has zero self-awareness. Can't she see his dark face? Take the money and get lost, girl. I looked into Spencer's eyes I had memorized over the last 3 years. This time I didn't need to squint to see the disgust. The eyes that used to fake affection no longer held my reflection. In that moment, I knew the comments were real. So, I choked back the scene I had prepared. My voice came out raspier than intended. So, how much is the severance package? Spencer froze, clearly not expecting that question. He pulled out a stack of bills and threw them into the air. Red $100 bills rained down on the floor. He looked at me coldly, waiting for my reaction. I pursed my lips and stood there. The text scrolled rapidly before my eyes. Pick it up. This is your last chance to cash out. The male lead sees her true colors. Now he's humiliating her on purpose. He finally realizes that everyone else just wants his money only. Our princess is pure and uncorrupted. But didn't she date him for 3 years? Breaking up this ugly? Is the male lead really the good guy? What do you know? She's just a gold digger. She took the money. She has no right to talk about dignity. As long as you're alive, you have a right to dignity. While the comments argued, I had already squatted down, gathered the scattered bills, organized them neatly, and placed them in my purse. The comments were harsh, but they were right about one thing. This was my last payday from Spencer. I had to make it count. Maybe my scapango technique was too professional. When I turned to leave, I glanced back and saw Spencer's face was dripping with darkness. 3 years of intense training almost made me instinctively tear up and profess my love. But then more mocking comments floated by. I snapped out of it, bit my lip and said, Dolly, or should you leave first? Spencer didn't speak. He stormed out, face cold as ice. I watched his back, thinking about the designer bags and jewelry he gave me over the years. My heart actually ached. Only now did I dare let the tears blur my vision. This might really be the last time. Goodbye, Spencer Sterling.
Whoa.
Why does the supporting female look actually heartbroken? Doesn't she only care about money? Why is she crying like that? I saw the comments and quickly wiped my face. When I looked up, Spencer had turned around in the distance. He was looking at me, his expression complicated. Terrified he might ask for a refund. I turned sideways and power walked away. My white sneakers stepped into a loose paving stone, splashing dirty mud all over the toe. I admit my exit was a bit messy, but at least I got away safely that night. In my rental apartment, I counted cash while sending out resumes. I deposited the $7,000 severance Spencer gave me immediately after leaving his gated community. If he had given me just $3,000 more, I would have hit my savings goal of $500,000. The economy is bad. I didn't dare invest in stocks. I put it all in CDs. Low interest, but zero risk after balancing the ledger. I lay on the bed and finally had time to be sad. Miss the money, sure, but I miss Spencer too. When I graduated, I got scammed out of my savings by a fake landlord, then worked an unpaid internship where they fired me on the last day. I was starving when I met Spencer. Maybe when your luck hits rock bottom it bounces. I was plain. But I was exactly Spencer's type. He was generous. 10 grand a month allowance plus expensive gifts. I couldn't repay him with money, so I repaid him with ego boosts. He liked me clingy. He liked me helpless. I even took acting classes to provide better emotional value. I could turn 30% affection into 100% devotion. But luck comes fast and leaves faster. I stared at the ceiling wondering where I'd find work tomorrow. Then the strange text started scrolling again. What is the male lead doing? He let Princess find out about the supporting female. Now Princess is mad, poor baby. If I recall, the supporting female dated him first. Why is the heroine mad? Stop being a troll. She was just a canary. A sugar baby doesn't count as a girlfriend. The comments started fighting. My eyes were getting blurry. Then a bright red comment stopped the war. The male lead is crazy. He wants to bring the supporting female in to make Princess jealous. Let's see if she has the shame to show up. The second the text vanished, my phone rang. Come to Club Vane, room 305, Spencer said. Short and concise. I remembered the last comment and felt guilty. We broke up. Maybe it's not 5,000, but 15. However, 30,000. I'm on my way. I hopped on my bicycle and rode against the night wind toward the location. The comments floating above the road were roasting me alive. Let them roast 30 grand for a cameo. They'd run faster than me if they had the chance. Spencer wanted me to act like a simp in front of the heroine. At this point, I knew my place. But the moment I walked into the VIP room, the honey on my lips froze because the person standing there, the princess the comments worshipped, was Jenna, the fake heiress who kicked me out of my own biological family. Facing Jenna's disdainful glare, the 30 grand suddenly didn't seem worth it. I went silent. Spencer called me over. I responded absent-mindedly, sensing my lack of enthusiasm. Spencer's face darkened. He ignored Jenna, who he was supposedly obsessed with, and frowned at me until the comments mentioned the heroine again. He reacted like a puppet. He grabbed me and pulled me into his arms right in front of Jenna. Then, as expected, Jenna's eyes turned red with anger. In that instant, I felt so tired. I put my hand on his chest and pushed us an arm's length apart. I dug around in my pocket for a while, finally pulling out a set of keys and tossing them on the table. I only came to return the keys you left at my place. I tried to sound relieved, but my voice shook. I didn't actually know what keys these were. Spencer's front door was biometric, but I bet Spencer didn't know either. Someone snickered. Spencer's friends. They always looked down on me like the scrolling text. They probably thought I was playing hard to get. A nameless fire rose in my chest. I pointed a trembling finger at Spencer. A good ex should be like a corpse, dead and silent. Don't contact me again. Do you understand? I didn't have the courage to look at him again. I turned and ran. I ran all the way out of the club, before I dared to lean against a wall and sob. Spencer dumping me was fine, but choosing Jenna, that hurt. When Jenna stole my parents and kicked me out of the house, I was 17. Half of the hunger and humiliation I suffered these past years was her doing. I was waiting to save enough capital to pull a revenge of the fallen heiress plot. How did Spencer become her backer? I bit my lip, afraid to make a sound. Shaking with silent sobs, the floating comments went quiet. Damn, why does she look actually pitiful? Yeah, I'm kind of feeling bad for her. What do you mean kind of pitiful? I am objectively miserable. Okay, finally. I couldn't hold it. I squatted down and wailed. A tissue appeared in front of my face. The person holding it had one hand over his ear, looking at me with a complicated expression. You love him that much enough to torture yourself? It was Sawyer Sterling, Spencer's younger brother. I didn't speak. He squatted down and wiped my messy face. I used to think you were just a glutton who loved money. I didn't know you could love so genuinely. You cursed him out in public just to help him move on. His tone was awkward, a blush creeping up his neck. I thought for a long time before speaking again. Chloe, be with me. I'll treat you better than my brother did. I looked up, staring at him. He scratched his head nervously. I mean to be my girlfriend. I won't let anyone bully you. Whatever my brother gave you, I'll give you too. 10 grand a month deal. Okay, we're dating. Deal, I said. The word hung in the alleyway, cutting through the ambient noise of city traffic. Sawyer blinked. The tips of his ears were still burning a furious red. He looked like he had just offered to donate a kidney, only for the recipient to ask if he could throw in the liver, too. Just like that. Sawyer asked, his voice cracking slightly. You don't want to think about it? You just broke up with Spencer an hour ago. Inflation is at 2%, and heartbreak doesn't pay for heat, I said, wiping the last of the fake tears from my cheeks with the back of my hand. I stood up, dusting off my jeans. The tragic heroine posture evaporated, replaced by the posture of a woman who had just clocked in for a new shift. When does the contract start? Do you need a W-9 form, or is this under the table? The floating comments whizzed past Sawyer's head like angry hornets. Wait, did she just switch leads? Is that allowed? The author is lazy. Recycling the brother? Look at Sawyer's face. He thinks she's using him to make Spencer jealous. He loves the angst. I looked at Sawyer. He did, indeed, look painfully sympathetic. He reached out, hesitating, then awkwardly patted my shoulder. I know you're hurting Chloe, he said softly. You don't have to act tough. I know you're doing this to stay close to him. I'm willing to be the vessel for your grief. I stared at him. Vessel for my grief? For 10 grand a month, I'd treat him like a vessel for the Holy Spirit if you want it. Sure. I sighed, letting my shoulders slump just enough to look fragile again. You see right through me, Sawyer. Let's go. My bicycle is out back. Sawyer insisted on putting my bicycle in the trunk of his Aston Martin. As we drove toward his penthouse, the comments kept scrolling. Jenna is going to flip when she finds out. Spoiler alert, Spencer realizes his mistake in chapter 56. Too late, bro. Wait, is the FL female lead actually a gold digger? I'm confused. No, she's traumatized. Look at her sad eyes looking out the window. I was looking out the window counting the passing luxury cars, calculating their lease rates. Sawyer's apartment was different from Spencer's. Spencer's place was a museum of cold marble and beige furniture. Sawyer's place was chaotic, gaming consoles, stacks of vinyl records, and a half-eaten pizza box on the coffee table. Sorry for the mess, Sawyer muttered, kicking a stray sock under the sofa. I wasn't expecting guests.
It's cozy. I lied.
I sat on the edge of the sofa, hands folded in my lap. So, what are the terms? Do you need me to peel grapes? Listen to your indie band demos? Or just general adoration? Sawyer froze. He turned to me, his expression serious. I just want you to be happy. And I don't want you to be alone right now. Oh no, I thought. He's a nice guy. The nice ones were the hardest work. You couldn't just automate the affection. You actually had to engage. This was going to justify the salary. Chapter 2. The family dinner. 2 weeks later, the inevitable happened. A summons to the Sterling family estate. Spencer had heard. Of course he had. The comments told me that Jenna had thrown a tantrum, accusing me of trying to infiltrate the family again. Spencer, intending to protect Jenna and humiliate me, demanded Sawyer bring me to dinner. I spent 3 hours getting ready. I chose a dress that was demure but expensive, a soft blue that made me look like a wilted flower in need of water. You don't have to do this, Sawyer said, adjusting his tie in the mirror. He looked terrified. Over the last 2 weeks, he had treated me less like a girlfriend and more like a wounded animal he was nursing back to health. He bought me books, ordered me soup, and hadn't asked for a single ego stroke. It was unnerving. I'm fine, I said, fixing his collar. We have a deal, remember? I earn my keep. When we walked into the Sterling dining room, the air was cold enough to preserve meat. Spencer sat at the head of the table, swirling a glass of red wine. Jenna sat next to him, wearing a diamond necklace that looked suspiciously like one Spencer had promised me for our 3rd anniversary. Look at the tension. Jenna looks tacky. That necklace doesn't match her undertones. Spencer is staring at Chloe. He's totally not over her. So, Spencer said, not bothering to stand. I didn't realize my brother had a taste for leftovers. Sawyer stiffened beside me. Spencer, watch your mouth. Jenna let out a high-pitched giggle. Oh, don't be mean, Spencer. Chloe probably just needs the money. The job market is tough for people with her background. She emphasized background like it was a slur. The irony was rich. I was the biological daughter of the wealthy prestige family that had adopted her. She was the one who had engineered my exile. I squeezed Sawyer's hand to stop him from exploding. I turned my eyes to Spencer. The look number 4, melancholy longing that used to be his favorite. I'm just happy Sawyer is kind to me, I whispered, voice trembling perfectly. Unlike some people, he sees me as a person, not an accessory. Spencer's grip on his wine glass tightened until his knuckles turned white. Is that so? Spencer sneered. Tell me, Sawyer, how much does her love cost these days? Is she giving you the devoted wife package or the star-crossed lover special?
She's not you, Sawyer snapped.
She's real. Spencer laughed, a cruel, barking sound. He reached into his pocket and tossed a velvet box onto the table. It slid across the mahogany and stopped in front of me. I bought this for you a month ago, Spencer said, his eyes drilling into mine. Since you're so happy with Sawyer, you won't mind if I give it to Jenna, right? It was a pair of sapphire earrings. Vintage. Worth at least 40 grand. My heart didn't ache, but my wallet did.
40 grand.
That was a down payment on a duplex. Jenna gasped, reaching for the box. Oh, Spencer. They're beautiful. The comments exploded. He's testing her. If she reacts, he wins. Don't do it, Chloe. Don't give him the satisfaction. I smiled. It was a sad, resigned smile. I looked at Jenna. They match your eyes, Jenna, I said softly. You should wear them. They never really suited me. I prefer simpler things now. I turned to Sawyer and rested my head on his shoulder. Sawyer made me grilled cheese last night. That was worth more than any jewelry. Silence. Absolute silence. Sawyer turned bright red, looking at me with awe. Spencer looked like he had swallowed a live toad. Jenna looked at the earrings, then at Spencer's furious face, realizing that her victory felt incredibly hollow. Emotional damage. Critical hit. Did she just friendzone the jewelry? Queen behavior. Under the table, I patted my purse. The grilled cheese line was a bit cheesy, pun intended, but it secured my employment with Sawyer for at least another quarter. Chapter 3. The breach of contract. The dynamic shifted after that dinner. Spencer started showing up places. If Sawyer took me to a gallery opening, Spencer was there. If we went to a bistro, Spencer was at the corner table. He wasn't looking at Jenna, he was glaring at me. The comments provided a running commentary on his mental state. Male lead regret arc loading. 70%. He realizes Jenna is annoying. She keeps asking for stuff. Chloe never asked, she just waited. Spencer misses the professional ego stroking. Jenna is an amateur. One rainy Tuesday, Sawyer was out of town for business. I was at the apartment, reorganizing Sawyer's vinyl collection by genre. He had categorized them by vibes, which was psychotic, when the doorbell rang. It was Spencer. He was soaked, smelling of whiskey and expensive rain. "We need to talk," he rasped. I blocked the doorway. "I'm on the clock, Spencer. Sawyer wouldn't like you being here." "Stop it," he snapped, pushing past me into the living room. "Stop the act. I know you. You don't love him. You're doing this to punish me." He spun around, water dripping from his coat onto the Persian rug. "Okay."
You win. I'm miserable. Jenna is exhausting. She's not you.
She doesn't know how I take my coffee. She doesn't know when to be quiet. She doesn't look at me the way you do. He pulled out a checkbook. "Name your price, Chloe. Break up with Sawyer. Come back. I'll double the allowance.
20 grand. No, Seti.
And I'll dump Jenna tonight." I stared at the checkbook. $30,000 a month. That was $360,000 a year. 2 years, and I could retire to a beach in Portugal. The comments were screaming. "Take the money and run. No, have some self-respect." Wait, look at the text above Spencer's head. I looked up. A new, golden comment was floating above Spencer. Plot twist. The male lead is planning to use Chloe to secure his inheritance, then dump her for a status wife in Chapter 100. My blood ran cold. Of course. It was never about love. It was about utility. I was the comfortable shoe he wanted to wear while he ran his marathon, and he'd discard me at the finish line. I looked at Spencer, really looked at him. I saw the arrogance, the entitlement, the complete lack of humanity. 30 grand, I repeated. Spencer smirked, clicking his pen. I knew it. "You're a smart girl, Chloe." "No," I said. Spencer froze. "What?" "No," I leaned against the doorframe. "I'm not coming back. Not for 30, not for 50. "Why?" He looked genuinely baffled. "You love money. You're a gold digger. You admitted it." "I am," I agreed calmly. "But I'm a risk-averse investor. You're a volatile asset, Spencer. You'd appreciate too quickly."
Sawyer?
"He's a stable bond. He's kind. He respects me. And frankly, the working conditions are better." Spencer's face twisted. "You're actually falling for the spare heir?" "Maybe," I said. And for the first time, I wondered if it was true. "Now get out. You're dripping on the rug, and the cleaning fee is coming out of your pocket." I shoved him out and slammed the door. My heart was pounding. I had just turned down a fortune. Maybe I'm the one who's crazy, I thought. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Sawyer. "Sawyer, hey. Flight got delayed. I miss you. Also, I saw a limited edition handbag at the duty-free. It looked like something you'd like. I bought it. See you soon." I stared at the screen. A smile, unbidden and unpaid for, tugged at the corner of my mouth. Chapter 4. The Gala and the Ghost. The annual Sterling Foundation Gala was the climax of a social season. It was also where Jenna planned to bury me. According to the comments, Jenna had found out about my biological parents. She knew I was the real daughter of the oblivious billionaire couple, the Montclairs, who were attending the gala. She planned to frame me for theft in front of them to ensure they never looked at me with anything but disgust. Jenna has the planted watch in her purse. She's going to slip it into Chloe's clutch during the toast. Someone stop her. I stood in the ballroom, wearing a shimmering silver gown Sawyer had insisted on buying. I felt like a knight in sequined armor. Jenna approached me during the cocktail hour, feigning sweetness. "Chloe, I'm so surprised Sawyer brought you," she cooed, leaning in for a fake hug. "Hold this for a sec, will you?" She tried to hand me her clutch while she adjusted her dress. The comments flashed red. "Trap.
Trap.
Trap." I stepped back. "Sorry, Jenna. I don't touch knockoffs. I might get a rash." Jenna's face contorted. "Excuse me? This is real." "Is it?" I raised an eyebrow. Just like your backstory? Jenna went pale. What do you know? I know you're terrified, I whispered, stepping closer. I know you check the comments too, don't you? Jenna's eyes widened in horror. She couldn't see the text, but she knew something was wrong. She didn't know I had the cheat codes. At that moment, Mrs. Montclair, my biological mother, walked by. She paused, looking at me. There was a flicker of recognition in her eyes, a biological pull that defied plot logic. Do I know you, my dear? She asked gentle.
Jenna panicked.
She lunged, trying to shove her clutch, with the stolen watch inside, into my hands to start the scene. I sidestepped. Jenna stumbled, the clutch flew open, and a heavy, diamond-encrusted Patek Philippe, Spencer's watch, skittered across the floor, landing right at Mrs. Montclair's feet. The room went silent. My husband's watch. Mrs. Montclair frowned, looking at Jenna. Why do you have this? Jenna stammered. Chloe put it there. She gave it to me to hold. I haven't touched you all night, Jenna, I said, my voice projecting clearly. And there are cameras in the corner. Spencer stepped forward, looking between Jenna and the watch. The comments above his head were scrolling so fast they were a blur. Male lead realizes the heroine is a thief. The illusion shatters. Mrs. Montclair looked at me, then at Jenna. She stepped closer to me, reaching out to touch my face. Your eyes, they look just like my grandmother's. The truth didn't need a DNA test in that moment. It just needed the silence of a lie being exposed. Jenna burst into tears and ran. Spencer looked at me, a desperate plea in his eyes, but I turned my back on him. I walked over to Sawyer, who was watching me with a confused but supportive smile. Ready to go? I asked. Always, he said. Chapter 5, Severance and New Beginnings. The fallout was spectacular. The Montclairs demanded a DNA test. Jenna was exposed and cut off. Spencer was publicly humiliated for dating a fraud. I, however, sat in Sawyer's living room, staring at a bank statement. The Montclairs wanted to give me everything. The years of back pay for being their lost daughter. But I hadn't signed the papers yet. You're thinking about running, Sawyer said from the doorway. He wasn't asking. I looked up. I have enough money now. I hit the goal. Actually, I tripled it. I don't need to be a trophy girlfriend anymore. Sawyer walked over and sat on the coffee table facing me. I know. So the contract is void, I said, my voice tight. You don't have to pay me to be here. And I don't have to pretend to like your indie bands. Sawyer laughed. You hate the bands? I knew it. He reached out and took my hands. His palms were warm. Chloe, I never wanted a trophy. I just wanted you. The money, that was just the only language you would listen to at the time. He looked at me, stripped of all the pretenses. I know you're rich now. You don't need me. But I'm hoping you might want me? For free? I mean, I'll still pay for dinner. And I'm good at foot rubs. I looked at the air above his head. For the first time in months, the floating text was gone. The comments had vanished. The story was over. The audience had left. It was just us. I looked at my bank account one last time, safe, secure, independent. Then I looked at Sawyer. I suppose, I said, a real smile finally breaking through. I can do pro bono work. But the indie music has to go. Sawyer grinned and pulled me into a kiss. It was messy, unscripted, and completely free of charge. Epilogue. 3 years later, I walked into the boardroom of Sterling Enterprises. Spencer sat at the far end of the table, looking older, tired. He was still the CEO, but the spark was gone. The new shareholder is here, the secretary announced. Spencer looked up, expecting some old man in a suit. When he saw me, his jaw dropped. I wasn't wearing the soft pastels of a trophy girlfriend. I was wearing a sharp, black-tailored suit, my heels clicking rhythmically on the floor. Chloe, he whispered. That's Ms. Montclair to you, I said, sliding into the seat opposite him. And I believe I own 15% of your company now. Shall we discuss the quarterly projections? I see you've been overspending on marketing. I opened my portfolio. Under the table, my phone buzzed. Sawyer. Good luck, boss lady. Picking you up at 6 for tacos. I smirked at Spencer. The comments were gone, but I could still hear one in my head, the final verdict of the audience. She won.